I'm Mark out of HurricaneTrack.com. It is about 2:15 Eastern Time now on Sunday, August 27th, 2017, and the Harvey saga continues. We have been talking about this since it was a tropical wave over Africa, and it didn't develop out in the main development region per se. It struggled, basically. It didn't become a hurricane. Flooded Barbados, came across, died in the Caribbean, and then sprouted to life again in here, and we know the rest. And now it is sitting over southeast Texas, causing serious flooding after causing serious wind damage and serious flooding along the central to lower Texas coast last night and through today. And we're going to be dealing with this for several more days. So I want to talk about the tropics as a whole real quick, and I do appreciate Mr. Zach Fradella from New Orleans stepping in today to do an update for me so that I could work, and we are going to be using him in the future. Meteorologist. I am a geographer, and I'm a physical geographer, so I have a mix of meteorology and a mix of geography and earth science, and he is a meteorologist, and that's a good team. So thank you, Zach, for helping out. We also want to talk about 92L. This has also been around for, I have to laugh a little bit. I mean, my goodness. I mean, this is very serious, but I mean, honestly, this has been around for a long time too. They just get stuck over here, and I talk about this often, people. I mean, come on, we say that, you know, just because they don't develop right here and track all the way either out to sea, and everybody's like, oh, wow, look at that, a pretty hurricane out in the middle of nowhere, or they start out here sometimes and maybe they hit the United States and come in and do something like that. They've done that in the past. Okay, so that's not a prediction of the future, just saying they don't always do that, those long tracks. Sometimes they wait until they get, you know, right here in our backyard, and Barbados is part of that, and close to the U.S., and then they can fire up and do all kinds of things. You remember 2005 was a very similar pattern. The storms that really affected the United States didn't get going until late in their life cycle in terms of their embryonic stage anyway. So the latest on Harvey, as of 2 a.m. Central or Eastern Time, 1 a.m. Central Time, it's a tropical storm, and that's just the wind speed part. The pressure has a lot to do with it as well, but it's got tropical storm winds about 40 knots, 45 miles per hour, and those are going to be felt in some of the stronger thunderstorms. Maybe not necessarily near the center anymore, near the core, what's left of it. And the problematic part here is that the movement is nearly stationary. And then, of course, we do have 92L with about a 50-50 shot of development. But I want to point out that the low pressure is expected to cause increasing wind and rough surf along the coast of Georgia and the Carolinas through next week. Heavy rain is also expected through the Florida Peninsula. So this, once again, also a tropical wave that moved off the coast of Africa, and it is going to cause problems. It's been causing problems down here. Then we're talking about some serious beach issues up through the Carolinas and maybe even the Outer Banks and possibly the tidewater of Virginia. So there is a lot to talk about, and as if that wasn't enough, if we go and look at the 5-day outlook, more coming. Lovely. All right, so let's look at the path of Harvey real quick over the next few days. We'll single this out. There we are. Luckily, it doesn't look like it's going to come out over the water in any appreciable distance. It's not going to do something like this, which is very good. It is going to hopefully just, well, all things considered, this is the better scenario in terms of a more intense storm later on, but it's very bad for Texas. I mean, it's a lose-lose situation, honestly. But it's just going to kind of hang around in this area and bring in a lot of moisture off the Gulf of Mexico, swinging it in these bands of prolific energy like we saw today and tonight, that's causing some serious flooding in the Houston area. But this is also going to concern folks farther inland. And I'm going to just talk about, I mean, I can't pick it out and tell you every single city, but I'm going to show you how you can figure that out yourself here in just a moment. The wide shot of the Atlantic Basin at this very early morning hour of Sunday, you can see Harvey spinning around over here, the center of circulation there. And on this black and white shot. This shows the cloud tops. The brighter the whites are, then the higher up they are in the atmosphere. It's an unenhanced infrared, and you can even see on this that this whitish color right through here, lots of upward motion and deep convection in the atmosphere, creating these incredible downpours and a lot of lightning. You've hopefully seen what I've been posting on Twitter. It's been unbelievable up here in Houston. Every one of these things is different. Harvey is definitely not breaking precedents there. And then we have 92L in here somewhere, and we're going to have to just see where the low pressure center takes shape. I want to point something else out. You notice how the clouds are all kind of going like this? I'll try to draw some arrows on here. You can see this anticyclonic flow all throughout the Gulf of Mexico here. That's how Harvey really got going. There was no shear to speak of. It just blossomed. It had a round appearance to it and an incredible eye right before sunset, and it made landfall at night, which was problematic for our projects because we can't see anything compared to the daytime, obviously. And with all due respect to the chasers that were down here in the Rockport area, you know, I did that in Punta Gorda, just outside of Punta Gorda at Port Charlotte for Charlie a while back, and I said I was never going to do that again. Being in it, the core of a major hurricane, especially a Cat 4, with no protection and just putting yourself in there on purpose, I can't do that. Now, I'm not critical of the folks that did it, but it's just not my cup of tea. We did put equipment out on the coast, but the nighttime landfall, made it impossible to see. So you win some, you lose some. We did gather very valuable data. We helped a lot of people with information, and now I'm up here in the Houston area continuing the work because there's Harvey still spinning around. Out in the tropical Atlantic, nothing to worry about right now, but we will be watching this closely over the next few days. So real quick, I want to show you the vorticity signature of Harvey, still nice and round, lots of energy, and we're starting to increase the vorticity over Florida, and that's probably what will eventually become, I think at some point, we're going to get Irma, Harvey and then Irma out of this, and it might even kind of skirt the Carolina coast here as it develops and then head on out to sea, kind of like Julia did last year. Remember that? So you folks back home, I'm from the Wilmington, North Carolina area. I'm going to miss this one, so at least it's not going to be too strong. But a lot of rain, a lot of coastal issues there too. Heavy surf, rip currents, beach erosion, and heavy rainfall. Be ready for that, all right? So want to show you this. I talked about this when Harvey was a Category 4, when it was just a depression, and everything in between. Weather.gov is your key to understanding what to expect and generally when to expect it. So you go to weather.gov, see it's right there. You type in your zip code. Let's just do Houston for a moment. 77001. I happen to know that. And you get the return page. And it's got a lot of stuff on it. My goodness. Oh boy. So this is what you're looking for. Now this is a lot. Okay, it is, because this is a pretty big emergency going on here in Houston. But these are the different keys that you want to look at right through here. Mainly the hurricane local statement, this guy right here, okay? See if I can draw a little arrow to it. Not bad. The hurricane local statement. You click on that, and that will tell you all you need to know about your area and what to expect. And this is updated a couple of times a day. I talked about this a lot during the, like I said, before landfall, but it's pertinent now, even as it's just a tropical storm, quote unquote. So lots and lots of information in here. Lots of stuff about rainfall, tornadoes, which have been prevalent, unfortunately, all day during the day here on Saturday. Storm surge will subside for the most part, but there still could be some storm surge from various bays and look at it. Coastal impacts, main surge event are now unfolding from the upper Texas coast, primarily west of Sargent. Remain well away from the hazardous surge having possible limit. Let's see, what does this say? Potential impacts from the main surge event are now unfolding across the upper Texas coast, primarily west of Sargent. Remain well away from locally hazardous surge having possible limited impacts. Well, see, maybe they're tired too, because that doesn't make sense to me. If realized, these impacts include localized inundation with storm surge flooding, and mainly along immediate shorelines and low-lying spots, or in some areas farther inland where higher surge waters move ashore. The point is, there's a ton of information in here. Read it, and it'll really help you to understand what to expect for your community. Weather.gov, put in your zip code. Look at this radar. Not only do we have Harvey over here, the center of circulation not too far to the south and east of San Antonio, but we also have 92L still plaguing Florida, the southwest coast, with some heavier rain squalls right now, and we'll just have to see how this takes shape over the next few days. Water temperatures, I haven't shown this in a while because I've been so busy with Harvey. This sort of sets the stage for what we're going to talk about to wrap things up. Still quite warm and above normal through the main development region, and that gives these tropical waves the energy they need to survive. And eventually, we figure the conditions out here will be conducive enough for at least one, maybe two semi-long track storms develop. We've got one that's going to be coming off the coast of Africa soon, and most of the models jump on it somewhere in this region, and we'll just see what happens after that. In the Gulf of Mexico, water temperatures above normal, not too bad or too much, but they're there. And then, of course, off the east coast, the southeast, very much above normal for the most part. A couple of degrees Celsius in some areas, localized areas, and that's plenty. So if we look at the model guidance here, I want to go to the first image. This is the initial condition from tonight's GFS, and if we put this into motion, you see a couple of things here. The weak vorticity with 92L, and the still very well-rounded vorticity, the energy associated with Harvey. And you notice over the next couple of days, there's 24 hours right there. Not much movement from Harvey at all. Meanwhile, right off the coast of Charleston, this system starts to try to develop maybe a tropical depression right there off of Charleston. It bugs me that I can't be there, but so be it. And it creeps up real close to my neck of the woods, my home in Wilmington, North Carolina. And then look, right off the Outer Banks, it tries to develop as Harvey goes back down towards maybe Matagorda Bay again. It's just unbelievable how much rain this is going to dump as it brings in all that moisture, continuously feeding off the Gulf. And in the meantime, look what happens out here in the western Atlantic into the subtropics. What would be Irma gets going, maybe another hurricane, but luckily moving away from the U.S., I do believe. So there's a lot. And then after 5 days, we watch and see what happens off of Africa moving into the central Atlantic. I'll probably still be in Houston, who knows. So listen, before I sign off, and I know tonight was a long one, but I want to be thorough about this stuff. We don't have a 2-minute block to talk about it like sometimes you get on television. I can talk as long as I want. I know I talk a lot, but that's fine. I think that, well, I hope it's okay, right? I want you to learn what I know, and then you can take that and meld it with what you hear from other people that you trust. It's not just me. There's others. We know that. And that's what I want to get into here. I really appreciate the people that followed along and gave words of encouragement. If there was 100,000 Twitter responses, Facebook likes, YouTube views, everything all included, you know, all but 3 or 4. We're talking 99.7% were positive. And that means so much. It really does. That motivates me. It really, the team that helps out behind the scenes, it all matters. So, and we're not done yet either. So it's incredible. I really appreciate it. So I'm going to be in Houston setting out another camera tomorrow, I believe, somewhere. I do have one out right now. So check the Twitter feed mainly to catch that. It's also on Ustream, and I did put it on our Facebook page. Everything we do is HurricaneTrack. Just remember that, Hurricane TRACK. That's our brand, and you can find it. We did have several people sign up for the Patreon. We are crowd-funded for the most part now. So if you would like to help support what I am doing and the people that help me become a sustaining patron for the rest of the hurricane season at the very least, 2 or 3 months till the end of the year, the end of December, or even annually, that would be great. Patreon.com/HurricaneTrack. And a huge thank you to those that have joined that crowdfunding effort. That's how we, part of how we fund this. There is no gigantic pot of money somewhere. A lot of people contribute when it's time, and that's how we're able to do this. So check it out if you get a chance. All right, I'm done. I'm going to get some much-needed sleep. I do have the camera running here in Houston along 610 where Brays Bayou cuts under near Braeswood. So check that out. It's easily accessible, like I said, either on Facebook, Twitter, or on Ustream. Just search for HurricaneTrack and you'll find it. Thanks for watching. I'm Mark Sudduth from Houston for HurricaneTrack.com. I'll post another video update for you tomorrow afternoon.